Welcome back to His Immensity's campaign, the Waagh, Grom DePonch's Waagh. And first of all, DePonch says thank you for recognizing His Immensity with 150 comments on the last episode and different suggestions. His Immensity read all of the suggestions, and it was wonderful. Thank you for all of the suggestions. Him and Niblet spent a long time covering them, and he's got good news for you gits who are following the Waagh. First of all, the Goblin is going to get a name, and his name was decided to be Patchy the Salty Stabba. And I'll see how I can get it to fit here. So we got Patchy the Salty Stabba, named after a campaign that I did long ago where we named a character Patchy. Long story. That was way back in my Poland campaign on Empire. Yeah, anyway. Also, there was a request of His Immensity, and there was other names that we got for these goblin bosses. I may revisit these. One of the other requests was for the Waagh that I asked you all to help me with, and I'm also going to need some help to rename some stuff, because we do have a Waagh target, folks. You asked His Immensity, and he agrees, and a good point was made. These pointy ears is related to the other pointy ears across the ocean. These gits is all the same. And look at all the wood these pointy ears have for us to be making ships to go scrap the other pointy ears. So we is going to declare Waagh against the pointy ears. And we're going to take that Waagh to them here very shortly. There's just a couple of changes we need to make in the meantime. So Waagh against the pointy ears will be underway. I feel like Grom has need some proper archers here. I want to get some Night Goblin archers and get them upgraded. So I do have enough scrap to upgrade several units of archers. We cannot move underground on this turn, so I think I'm just going to move over here, where we can quickly go underground and get into this settlement and recruit some Night Goblins. I feel like that's going to be one of the next pieces of our important plan here. Attacks cause rattled effect, reducing combat ability. Oof, that sounds great. Sounds good. Savage Orc era, boys. Now see, this one buffs up all the gobos. Hard as nails. The big lads. Now, we do need trolls as well. We're gonna need some trolls to help run down the pointy ear archers. So, big lads, weapon strength for trolls, melee attack. Up here, though, this one will help Grom. Chariot races, rattled. I tell you what we'll do. Let's start working on this the big lads to help out our trolls. I think this is going to be important, so we're going to start doing that for the different units we're going to need to take down the pointy ears. The fishy tittlemuncher. Teach him right. I love the name of that. Bag Batterin. Oof. And attacks cause horrible smell. Oh, yes. That also sounds really fantastic. In fact, that's what we're going to do. Bag Batterin just sounds absolutely perfect for the fishy tittlemuncher. And then as for Patchy here, he is a stabber, so we should probably help him be pretty good at stabbing. And in order to stab, he needs to be alive. So we'll work on Survivalist and maybe start with Counter Striker here. So makes him be alive longer, makes him do more stabbing. Seems like the appropriate approach.
Wants these trees stomped.
It's going to take some money, but I do want to improve the defenses at Paravon in case some jealous gits come back trying to retake it. Or so, did I just say Paravon? Because I meant the Tittlemunch's lair.
Wanna chop this forest down?
I want to be able to rename this crap. What is that? Get that Paravon. That's not what we call it anymore. Tittlemunch's lair. Come on. Anyway, we'll declare Waagh as soon as we can see Towson. I don't know if I can declare Waagh on it without actually seeing the settlement first. I can see them on I can see them on the diplomatic screen, but I mean, who uses diplomacy? We're not here for wagging chins or anything, you know. We're here for scrapping.
Finds Grom's gear so he ain't stomped you yet.
Well, look at this. I'm here a couple of turns later, and it's almost like Durthu knows what's coming. He doesn't want to be turned into a boat. So his great immensity is pleased that Durthu wishes to fight. Well, Von Liebgitz came back and ran all the way to Ponch's peasant pot and thinks he's cool because it doesn't have walls yet and he can take it over, but I think we know what's going to happen to this guy. We've already proved a few times what his prowess is in battle, and it's not respectable. Actually just going to go with migration here. So I've finished almost training up an army that will be good enough to go after the woodland realm and turn it into our boats. Winged ammo, oh my gosh. Combat skin sacks. Range 20%, what would that be? So 10% of that would be 11.5. Oof, that is pretty good. It's a long way for these Gobbo archers to be reaching out. Let's get some scrap upgrades. The extra range will come in handy against the pointy ears. So we're gonna scrap upgrade these archers, and then we're gonna get some scrap armor for these Gobbos. And our trolls is coming in. We can't scrap upgrade them yet, I don't believe. On the next turn, we'll go pay back the Git here for his treachery against the Ponch. I managed to catch up with the Git outside the peasant pot, and good thing is we got a lot more peasants for the pot. So let's get these Gits cooking, shall we? Well, the Humi Gits is back. They've violated the Ponch's peasant pot, but it almost kind of works out good because the pot was empty. The boys is out of shrooms and awful sausage, and so they's no longer regenerating, and they're gonna need the extra scrap and peasant meat in order to refill the Ponch's pot. And so it's kind of nice that Wissenlin keeps offering their men up as a sacrifice in order to feed the insatiable hunger of the great Ponch. So the boys is going to get to work, and the small army of Wissenlanders will pretty quickly be tenderized and ready for cooking. You can see the Ponch's massive gut. Niblet hanging on for encouragement. And the Humies is quickly pushed back. Now what's their answer? How are they going to stand against the Green Waagh this time? Well, they've brought themselves a lot of Daka. They've got these pistoliers. I guess this is actually just more horse meat for the pot. But behind them, a big line of infantry, both with sword and spears, as well as a bunch of crossbows and handguns. So the Humies has brought a lot of range support. And again, without a belly full of awful sausage, the regeneration won't be helping my goblins, which will certainly make a big difference. But they don't intend to let that slow them down. The empty stomach is actually just driving them to fight for the Ponch so they can get a good meal. As the Humies push forward, the Goblin Waagh has been reformed and is set up to charge. They're simply waiting on the great gut of their leader to start this charge. Grom's gonna go right where he belongs, in the middle of a ball of infantry. While Defishy Tittlemuncha summons up old Blacktooth's Revenge. Okay, he'll come in full WWE style and start collapsing the Humi lines. Grom is racking up a ludicrous number of kills, and a purple sun came ripping through one of the Humi crossbows, attempting to slow it down, as they are causing quite a bit of damage to the boys at the moment. And some of the Humi infantry is standing and fighting for much longer than they would otherwise, due to some leadership being present. But the boys get the Waagh. All that scrapping has them excited. Will leave all their combat stats heavily increased. You can see that all along the line, these weak men are being crushed. This is the only place where they're doing any real damage, as they sit back away from the fight like humans do, and not coming in for a proper scrap. They just sit back shooting. So that is definitely where they're having the most effect. Speaking of effect, look at that. The Rogue Idol in, killed 52 humans in short order. The Great Grom, 124. And who knows, with the fishy Tittlemunch's great sack of carrion, how many corpses will be tainted with the smell that will never come off, even after their bones have rotted. Love that sound effect, the carrion sack.
As long as we draw breath, they will die!
You can see the Hume skirmishers are now taking return fire, the winged ammo of my goblin archers reaching out further than before, and able to close the distance. So the handguns will be silenced, and soon the crossbows will be chased as well. As the infantry lines break, another Waagh is active, and you can see human forces fleeing across the battlefield and skirmishers now being threatened. They've fallen back to positions further behind the initial lines, but it's only buying them a short amount of time. The skirmishers suffered another purple sun while being under fire from the goblin archers. And at this point, their army is in pretty much full retreat. See stone trolls in the background smashing crossbows. Crossbows being shot down by goblins, and now being chased by goblins as well, and engaged in melee. So at this point, it's just a matter of time before all the Hume forces break, and the Great Grom has refilled the Ponch's peasant pot and retaken it. Missing their awful sausage in this fight. Some regenerating would have been nice, but, I mean, this was the git we're talking about. He ain't never been good against us in a scrap, and that isn't changing anytime soon. So the peasant pot is going to be back in our control. Yeah, really? A night goblin archer, huh? Well, whatever. I'll figure that one out. Let's occupy. This is the peasants. The Ponch's peasant pot. Not the peasant's paunch pot. Losers. Be gone. Get out from in front of the greatest Waagh. We have another spot open, and since we lost a Gobbo Archer, I feel like the Rusty Errors would be an appropriate replacement. We also lost our Wolf Rider. I don't really know that we need a Wolf Rider here. Going up against the Pointy Ears, I mean, we do have some speed in our Stone Trolls. It's not the best, but I think the Warlord's Boys would be a fun pick here. Either that or the Deaf Creepers. But I'm going to go with the Warlord's Boys because of their ability to do some scrapping in melee. The Paunch picks up another point, and we're going to help the big lads finish off. So now our trolls will be ready for the best scrapping. And the fishy Tittlemuncha picks up another one here. And I think we're going to go with Slimy Shanks here to help get back some fire resistance and extra hit points, which isn't going to hurt. There is potential fire ammunition on the Pointy Ears. He's going to go attack. Survivalist for Patchy, because, I mean, we definitely want him surviving. He's about to get They Need Stabbing. And they do need stabbing, folks. They need some serious stabbing. They need some serious stabbing. I think we'll get winged ammo here. Yeah, I'm going to get winged ammo for the Rusty Errors as well. No one else can have a scrap up. Well, actually, yeah, we can. We can get another scrap upgrade here. We get either Liquor Flask, which gives extra leadership, or Spiky Weapons. I think we're going to go with Spiky Weapons for... Yeah, because leadership makes no sense whatsoever for these boys, because they ain't going to rout. Not easily, at least. Let's go with Spiky Weapons.
Grom the Punch!
Can't get to 8 peak loonies yet. They're completely unbreakable. But yeah, we don't have access to them yet. Picked up some nice loot from that scrap. Appreciate their donation to Grom's cause. but don't really appreciate the damage they cause to the Ponch's peasant pot. That's my pot, and I don't likes them being here. Next up, we move into the land of the Pointy Ears after getting rid of what's left of the peasants that came thinking that they could take over the Ponch's pot. And then right before we head in against the Pointy Ears, we's gonna cook us a recipe and get the boys all ready. We're back, and you can see Durthu here hiding out in the woods with all his trees, and I say we's gonna declare a war on him. We'll go after Talzin at the Oak as well. They have a much higher strength rank actually than Arguelon, but I think we get the same trophy regardless. So I'll declare it so we can start getting all of our extra boys here. Let's get the Waagh declared. Waagh, we're declared. So Waterfall Palace. Yeah, I think it gets us. Yeah, it gets us the same trophy. No, 34. It doesn't. That's the smallest trophy. I want to declare Waagh on the big tree then, because I want a bigger trophy. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wait one more turn. I'm gonna move over here into the Woodland Realms, where I'm not at war, near Val's Anvil. And now we can see the Oak of Ages. We'll declare our Waagh there, start gathering the gits, and then we'll move on in and tear down the Big Oak and all the other settlements here and turn them into the Ponch's lumber yard, as they really should be at this point. If there's anything else we should be building here. Snotling pump wagons. Everybody loves a good snotling wagon. From raiding, ambush success, income. Well, no one's going to be starting their turn in that region, so I don't know how useful that is to us. At least at the moment. Massive Gut has positive public order, so do these other places. Let's just end our turn. Get some more research going for the big thinking, and then we needs to cook some dinner here too. Let's take a look at Grom's Cauldron. We have a lot more things available to us, but boy, the awful sausage is just kind of going to be perfect for this. As much as I'd like to, enemy leadership, siege holdout time, -5. Ooh, that actually could be pretty handy. Earns 5 reputation. This is what's going to get us regeneration. Eagle Talons. Anti-infantry for Goblin. Ooh, yeah. Extra range. Anti-large ammunition. More ammunition. Increased number of projectiles. Ooh, boy. So many to choose from. Let's go with the Eagle Talon thing and see what we can cook up here. Misty Mountain Broth. Enables sundering attacks for Grom and extra weapon damage. We get 15 turns of regeneration for our goblins, as well as eagle sight ammunition. We don't have enough scrap for fuel, though. Curses! We need scrap. We got to get some scrap, boys. How much does it take to cook something else? Oh yeah, we just gotta have 50 in general. Well, once we get some scrap, we'll start cooking. I know a good way to earn some scrap, and it's through some fighting. But we should probably go ahead and declare the Waagh. We're gonna dedicate it to Gork, because we ain't looking for missile strength. And here comes the Waagh. The gits be gathering. We'll have to get out of the forest here, I think, because they may take attrition. And that's kind of weird that they take attrition, even though we're in underground and we don't take attrition. So we'll get out of the forest, let these units build up, and we'll really bring in the big Waagh here. Oh wow, we got some angry pointy ears at us already, boys. Probably not good that we're this deep in enemy territory as it is, but we got some significant number of angry pointy ears to fight and to win against. Let's go to Waagh.
Grom always wins.
The pointy-eared Git Daith of Torgavon took advantage of Heir's probably somewhat early move into the woodland realms and gathered a huge force of pointy-eared Gits to stand against Grom's Waagh. And without enough scrap, Grom's troops come into battle hungry. No stomach full of awful sausage, no Misty Mountain broth, things that would help a ton getting into a big scrap like this. But you can see the pointy ears gathering in great numbers, and they've even brought living trees to try and smash the Waagh. But Grom only sees one thing when he sees these tree men: more boats for crossing and crumping more pointy ears. But again, the numbers of pointy ears is very high, and this will be the largest challenge that his great gut has faced yet. Feeling confident, the pointy ears sent up their skirmishing cavalry first, and the winged ammo of my goblin archers reaches out to greet them, and the glade riders will suffer immensely under heavy archer fire from goblins. The goblins still do lack a little range compared to these pointy-eared Gits, but that's not going to scare us off. They've even brought their fancy bird riders here to be firing at the boys. Very, very confident for the pointy ears, and we'll see how their confidence is likely to be their undoing. It's bird season, boys. Winged ammo seems quite appropriate for a winged foe. The pointy-eared skirmishers are pushed back, and now Grom and his troops are going to fall back further so they can meet up with all of the Waagh troops in order to meet the pointy ears in full force. Now, just before this fight with the pointy-eared Gits gets underway, I want you all to see what this pathetic power bar predicts. It predicts the pointy ears is gonna win. See this? They even outnumber the Waagh. It's like a pointy-eared Waagh. They're trying to recreate what Grom has done. There's Wildwood Rangers, there's Glade Guards, there's Deepwood Scouts, Way Watchers, Tree Men. The pointy ears has brought nearly the best of the best of what they can bring. The Gobos is not afraid. They're going to charge forward under the leadership of Grom, completely undeterred, to engage the enemy. And all across, the lines are going to clash. And the biggest scrap yet of Grom's campaign is underway. A massive scrap. One involving thousands and thousands of Gits facing off against the boys. So a massive fight indeed. You can see the Tittlemuncha firing off. A big purple sun all over the skirmishers of the pointy ears, and Blacktooth's Revenge is going to come smashing into the flank of the pointy ears as well in order to try and make a hole in their lines. Meanwhile, the Tree Man is being dealt with by the Stone Trolls, who are resistant to his magical attacks. But I must say, I've been a bit disappointed at their performance in this fight. The Tree Man is causing much more damage than I would have initially expected, considering that my Trolls is magic resistant. But they'll continue to fight the Tree Man nonetheless, and the Gobos is doing well in the fight against the Wildwood Rangers. The Rangers' lack of armor, because they don't know how to scrap, is going to be making them pay a hefty toll. You can see the Rogue Idol, despite the heavy archer fire, causing a lot of damage. Now back here, a few of our Gobos caused a blob, and the Fishy Tittlemuncha unleashed another purple sun that caused massive damage to a blob of pointy ears. But this scrap is only just getting started. Even though some of the initial infantry lines is broken, the process of chasing down hordes of pointy ear archers is just beginning. While a few small pockets of their infantry continues to resist. You can see here that a very healthy unit of stone trolls gets into combat with all these archers and starts crumping them good. They should be getting an enormous number of kills. Those archers shouldn't be holding up. But a rear charge from some Wildwood Rangers ends up taking an absurd amount of damage onto stone trolls. Not really sure how that's even possible. This unit was heavily damaged. But they came in nonetheless and somehow managed to rout my stone trolls, who are so close to the edge of the map that they won't be coming back. So a big setback for the Great Gut. And speaking of the Great Gut, he's tired of these Git pointy-eared archers. And so he's collapsed right into the middle of them and started to crump them. The pointy-eared Daith is avoiding combat with the Paunch. Wants nothing to do with him because the Paunch will cut off his pointy-eared head. And you can see that my Gobbo Archers is suffering wildly at the hands of the overwhelming pointy-eared force. But the lads of Grom's Waagh are not easily deterred, and they continue to fight, despite the power bar still predicting their eventual defeat. You can see the Tittlemuncha in here trying to break up this blob of troops, and despite fighting in melee with a bunch of ranged units, the Pointy Ears is managing to hold on to their leadership for the time being because of the number of troops on the battlefield, keeping their leadership high. The Tree Gits is fighting my Stone Trolls, and again, they won't do too well in that fight. And then, meanwhile, the Ancient Tree Git is still fighting the Stone Trolls as well. But the Trolls were regenerating, and the Nibleteers came to support the fight. So the Ancient Tree Git is taking a beating, and the Fishy Tittlemuncha is going to come in as well. Try and put an end to this Ancient Tree once and for all. He's lasted far too long. Even more Stone Trolls on their way to break it up. And the hunt for the pointy-eared archers is on. The Snotling Wagons, the Stone Trolls, River Trolls, Grom de Paunch, they're all hunting pointy-eared archers. You can see them flying in front of Grom's great chariot on this flank as he racks up dozens and dozens of kills at a time. Sees up to 128 pointy-eared Gits, never to be outdone by his own troops. Patchy is nearly dead from the number of pointy ears he's had to slay. But the Great Stabba is not yet going to be removed from this world. He's so salty that he's basically mummified alive and can't really be forced off the old world. And despite the cheating power bar saying these Gits was gonna win, yeah, we see who wins. Grom always wins. Gits haven't had a proper scrap like that in a long time. Killed many pointy ears. Many, many pointy ears. Hopefully we get some scrap off of them.
Put these Gits in the ground! Back it off!
Now, after that massive scrap, we are way overpowered by woodland Gits. We've got to get back into our own land. The Waagh will continue to generate. We took a few losses on what we had so far, which is unfortunate. Unfortunate indeed. But we can get back here as de Paunch. We can replenish some of the forces we lost. I think we just lost some goblins at the moment. Be good to replace them. I think I have enough infantry units. I don't think it's going to hurt to have some more trolls in here. So let's get the swamp things and recruit them into the army. Replenish, let our Waagh build up, and we'll take the fight back to the woodland Gits. We now have enough scrap to get our soup going here. And I'm going to actually wait to do that until we get a little closer to invading. So I'm going to go through a couple of turns here and get ready to go back into the woods and teach these gits that they need stabbing. And Patchy is going to give it to him. He's about to go into the woodland realms, and it is time to do some cooking. We're going to get the brew going here. This is going to be our Misty Mountain broth. We're going to be getting regeneration for all the gobos and some anti-infantry for our archers. So the boys is well fed, and we're ready to go in and teach the pointy ears that their trees is ours. Waagh army, mostly just regular old gobos, but that's a lot of extra lads to throw in here. So I think we're actually in pretty good shape, to be honest. We're gonna have to move in and get ready to hit Waterfall Palace. So I'm gonna push underground, and we'll take Durthu out as our first step towards dominating these pointy-eared gits. Look at this, as soon as I leave, the peasants start raiding. When the paunch is out, the peasants like to party, I guess. Ooh, boy. Great Goblin Shaman. Nice. That could be really fun. Let's do this. Merchant's back near Massive Gut, but we can't get there right now. We've got work to do against these pointy ears. I don't know if we can attack this on this turn. I think we can, but the Fishy Tittlemuncha has some points for us to spend first. Probably wouldn't be good to have her help us replenish quicker, because we're about to be doing a lot of scrapping. We can indeed reach the Waterfall Palace, and Durthu has his army of forest spirits to face us. These are some pretty serious trees, but ain't no tree that Grom can't cut down. That's exactly what we're gonna do. Over 5,000 entity models on the battlefield in yet another record-smashing showdown for this campaign. Durthu, the tree git, has brought a whole forest full of wood straight to Machapa's. And Grom has the opportunity to get the wood for the boats that he needs, and he is not gonna wait long. Come crashing in with his axe and begin the process of building up a massive lumber pile, one that needs to be the size of his own gut, in order to have the Waagh have enough lumber for the crossing across the ocean. The anti-large capabilities of my mainline goblins will be quite important here. Patchy and the Fishy Tittlemuncher are facing off against the Great Eagle, and you can see Durthu just starts taking an absolute hail of goblin archer fire to a point of huge damage, massive damage. And the great tree goes down early on in the fight. The leadership of all the woodlings cut down to size very quickly. And now they're left to face the green tide without the help of their leader. And where their tree was cut down, old Blacktooth's revenge is built up. They come to fight with wood. The boys come to fight with stone. Stone trolls, rogue idols, and you can see that the army of dryads, despite being somewhat daunting, they do have magic damage. They'll bypass the physical resistance of my goblins and other units who have it, but they're up against the heavy armor that we've scrapped, and the leadership that Grom gives to his troops is as massive as his gut. Speaking of the gut, he's back here slashing and hacking through the archers of the woodland realm, ensuring that they can't do any damage to the rest of the boys. As you can see, the fight clashed. It was an epic clash, and it has not gone well for the forces of Durthu. Not only has their great tree king fallen, but the rest of their units begin to fall as well. One more Durthu wannabe over here has wound up fighting the Swamp Things. Or sorry, not the Swamp Things, but another River Troll. The Swamp Things are actually fighting on the opposite flank. See over here, they're crumping a Wild Rider. But yeah, the Great Waagh has busted through. And it looks like Argwalon will be the first to taste Grom's axe and become the first to be lucky enough to be turned into the ships of Grom's great navy. And the sinews from the tendons and entrails of the non-wood units will also be handy for lashing sails, tying anchor lines, and everything else that's needed. You can see there, the Fishy Tittlemuncha took away almost all the hit points for that Waywatcher in the background. And the Stone Trolls and Grom just continue to hack and slash their way through the reinforcements. Regrouped Treekin and Dryads are attempting to hold back the Stone Trolls from killing what few units remain. There are a few Waystalkers holding together the leadership of the Elven armies. The Tittlemuncha is not scared. They won't stop her from getting into a good sack battering. You can see the River Trolls and the Gobbos is looking for new targets because the ones that they beat down are now fleeing. And the Waagh against the Pointy Ears continues in success. Tree Git Durfu will make a fine boat indeed, not to mention all the teeth and taking their settlement from them. These are some pretty pathetic Pointy Ears. If this is the best the Pointy Ears can do, they got a long ways to go because the Paunch is here and the Waagh is real. Now, CA please, why is my goblins taking attrition when I'm in a settlement? Come on. In a settlement. CA please. We can't do much here, but I'll build a few buildings to help hold down the fort, get us some extra shiny stuff, and help us carry on the Waagh against the Pointy Ears. We certainly have had a good fight here, and Durthu's faction is pretty much finished. Pretty much finished. Let's go with sneaking here. And then we'll put some growth and obedience, see if we can calm things down here at the Waterfall Palace, which, by the way, you all are going to have to rename. Going to have to rename the Waterfall Palace. The Nasty Skulker. Patchy always likes some extra stabbing power. Let's get the Nasty Skulker. Get rid of the rest of Durthu's tree gits. Be done with his faction once and for all. Unfortunately, the Waagh is just going to take non-stop attrition. Because CA, please. But that's the end of one faction full of trees. A couple more to go, and we'll be in a pretty good place. Pretty good place indeed. Perfect vigor for the pump wagons actually sounds pretty darn nice, but also we got this over here. Won't help against Dryads, but extra physical resistance for our high-ranking goblins, not to mention extra weapon strength. Let's do that, and then get the perfect vigor for the pump wagons. We got a bunch of gobbos who will be coming up soon enough on having all that extra capability. We got some more scrap here. I think we've had a pretty good episode. I'm going to go ahead and call it for this one. The Fishy Tittlemuncha is now immortal. And as far as Patchy the Stabba, we're going to make him do some better stabbing. Hope to see you all on another one. His Immensity needs your comments. We have to rename the Waterfall Palace. And I'm going to need your comments for what you think we should do next against the Pointy Ears. there'll still be a bunch of them here in the forest. We got a lot of work to do, and unfortunately, our Waagh will be suffering, but that doesn't stop Grom. Grom can make it happen. He will make it happen.